The S23 Ultra came out almost 2 years ago now, but it's just got the big update to One UI 6.1.1. Let's dive in and see what it brings to your phone. Welcome back to SamMobile TV. You're here with Daniel. This update will make your S23 Ultra feel like new again. The changelog is massive. So let's go through all the important things you need to know. You will notice a pretty heavy Galaxy AI flavor about this update. It's brought all of the updates from Galaxy AI that launched on the Flip and Fold 6 back in July. You will notice it now has a brand new menu. Galaxy AI is no longer sitting and resting in advanced features. It now has its own menu item. When you go in here, a lot of the existing AI functions that were there from the start have also got a bit of a rebranding. So you'll notice things like Notes Assist, where it used to be called Samsung Notes. But let's go through the items in the changelog, starting with Sketch to Image. Obviously, Sketch to Image is a pretty powerful tool. We've seen that in the other phones that have now got it. But the Ultra, and particularly the S23 Ultra with the S Pen, you can truly take advantage of it. First place you'll find Sketch to Image that's kind of prominent is in the Edge panel. When you swipe up from the side, you'll see it docked up there at the top above apps that you put there. You can also find it in the Air Command menu when you pull out the S Pen, which has actually got quite a nice redesign. It's a bit slimmer and a bit sort of more minimalist compared to what it used to be. It's not just here, there's some other areas too, but starting with the Edge panel, you pull it out and it just gives you a blank canvas to start drawing. After it sort of guides you through the process, you can start drawing whatever you like. And once you've done drawing it, in my case, like a building, like a hotel, you can choose the style that you'd like it to generate in and then hit generate. And then once it sort of goes through its little processing and comes back from wherever it's done that, it gives you 4 different options. And each of them is kind of different and unique and sort of representative of the style that you've chosen. Feel free to download any or all or none. You'll also find Sketch to Image in the gallery. Samsung have done something I think is really clever in moving the AI function out of the editor and giving it its own place at the bottom of the toolbar. When you do hit Sketch to Image from here, you'll get a little prompt to sort of show you the new functions. So when you go into a photo and you draw something, this is a bit different to the way it works in the Edge panel. This will actually give you a realistic version of what you've drawn as opposed to a fake sort of one, or like one that you've in a style that you've generated. So for example, a rocket, it'll give you a real rocket. A coffee mug, it'll give you a real coffee mug. You have 4 different options, again, to choose from. And again, you can save them if you wish. Sketch to Image also features inside Samsung Notes. It takes advantage of the fact that you can draw in Samsung Notes. When you press the Galaxy AI button, you'll see Sketch to Image there if you've got a drawing there. You lasso or lasso, whatever the word is, around it, and then choose the style, hit generate. This is pretty similar to the way it works in the Edge panel. In fact, I think it's exactly the same, just that you can then copy and replace it directly into the Notes file as opposed to saving it as a separate image. And the last place you'll find Sketch to Image is inside Smart Select. Smart Select has had a massive rebrand. It is no longer this sort of quick Edge panel you swipe out from the side. It is its own app. Whether you like this new change or not, that's down to you. Myself personally, I prefer the old way. But the way it works here is if you want Sketch to Image, you clip a photo and then Sketch to Image appears as an option. And then it will work exactly the same way as it does inside the gallery, where it'll actually draw a lifelike version of whatever it is that you've drawn. The other way Smart Select sort of works is you tap on an area and it'll sort of clip it up. You can size it out if you wish. I'm not a big fan of if it goes near the edges. If you've got the back swipe gesture turned on, it sort of interferes with it. Samsung might need to disable that if you're in Smart Select. But it's pretty contextualized. If you've got text, it'll sort of immediately copy or immediately sort of select the text for you to be able to copy it out into somewhere else or add it to notes. It's quite clever. I just wish they could tweak it and maybe merge it with the existing features that Smart Select used to do. The last Galaxy AI function around sort of photo images is Portrait Studio. Portrait Studio will basically take a selfie and will only appear in the gallery if a selfie is there and allow you to turn it into sort of a different style, whether that be comic book character, watercolor, whether that be cartoon. You've sort of got the options down there. Again, select the style that you like, hit generate, let it do its thing. What I like about this one is there's a little download button that that appears on each photo allows you to save each individual item pretty swiftly. I feel like they could add this into the other parts of Sketch to Image, but for some reason it's only here in Portrait Studio. But it's actually quite realistic and quite a lot of fun to sort of generate yourself in these different sort of styles, and AI does it pretty powerfully. Moving sort of away from the Sketch to Image and the photos, you've got Message Composer. Message Composer is part of the Samsung keyboard AI functions. So when you go into Samsung Notes and you want to write a speech maybe, or something, put something down, you can use Composer to sort of help you write it. Put in your prompt, I've decided on a silly one, and choose your style, whether that be professional, whether that be social, whatever it is you want to do. Hit generate and it'll sort of do its thing and give you what you've done. You can then add it into the sort of area that you'd like it to be sort of added into, and you've got yourself something that you've generated using AI. What's really neat too is it's contextual. So if you go into an email and you're running an email, rather than it being like the base level, it actually will change it to email and professional automatically, which I think is neat. Another one here in the changelog is that Live Translate now works in different apps. Before it was just Samsung's phone dialer. Now it will work in WhatsApp, Messenger, Google Meet, which is neat. So you can toggle the apps on as well. On my S23 Ultra, I don't have any of those apps installed except for Google Meet, but you can see it here on my S24 Ultra that you can toggle it on for those apps, whichever ones you'd like it to be used in. Samsung have updated the interpreter. So if you go into the interpreter now and you go into the little hamburger menu in the top left corner, you'll see a new feature called listening mode. Listening mode, rather than it being like a two-way conversation where you talk, someone talks, and back and forth, this will just listen to someone speaking to you and translate it. Where I think this could come in handy is if you're going on like a guided tour in another country, you can just leave listening mode turned on and it will listen to the person speaking and then translate it for you on the fly. It also says in here too that if you've got your Galaxy Buds in, it can listen through the buds and then play it back through the buds, which I think is really neat and definitely something I'll use when I'm traveling. Next one is part of Samsung Notes. There's a couple of things here in Samsung Notes to sort of go through, starting with the fact that they've brought the transcription from voice recorder into Samsung Notes. Because in Samsung Notes, you can record notes via voice, it actually now allows you to transcribe those directly in Samsung Notes. Rather than needing to only do it in voice recorder, Samsung Notes can do it too. Works exactly the same way in that you transcribe it and you can also generate a summary out of it as well. That's now part of Samsung Notes. What's also part of it is the fact that you can now summarize PDFs inside Samsung Notes too. So rather than just being sort of text you've created, if someone sends you a PDF document like a contract, you can summarize that sort of document inside Samsung Notes and also give you a summary that you could also translate as well. But the big thing I've noticed is there's a bit of a UI change for Notes Assist in general. Before, it was kind of convoluted. I didn't really like it. Now it's much simpler to use. When you select the style, whether that be auto format or summarize, it'll pre-select a body of text, but then it'll pop up in the bottom corner with a little sort of menu that allows you to do extra, whether that be go to the end of next page or go to the maximum. So with both auto format and summarize, this will pop up and it just gives you like an easier toggle to then generate your summary or formatting. But what I did notice is that auto format has a longer sort of limit now, which I think is really cool. Because before it used to sort of cap out at a certain character limit. Now it seems like that limit's been extended, because I haven't noticed it say, this is too long. We'll get used to. I also noticed too is that you can drag down the summary that is created or the formatting. So you can sort of put it as a little card down the bottom if you need to sort of clean something up in the top half and sort of rearrange things. You can then bring it back up if you need to sort of bring it back in, which I think is a nice little sort of just user experience change. Samsung have done some extra things in the gallery. They've brought in a feature called Live Effect, which if you've got a picture of yourself or something that has like a foreground and a background, you can separate that via this little motion effect. When you swipe up on the photo, it comes up, you hit Live Effect and it'll do its thing and generate it. You can then save it as a clip as well into the gallery for reasons. This is not something that is brand new. This has been in Google Photos for a while, but it's now native to the gallery also. Samsung have extended a feature they launched with the S24 Ultra, Instant Slow-Mo. What I really like with what they've done here is when you long press on the video to sort of slow that section down, when you release it now, you'll see a little button say Save Slow-Mo Clip instantly. So rather than needing to go into edit, find the part that you slowed down and then save it, it'll allow you to save it immediately. Hit save slow-mo clip, directly saves to your gallery. Something else that's sort of, I guess, parallel to that is Samsung allow you to create GIFs out of motion photos into stickers. So they remove the Smart Select GIF creation. I don't know whether this will help replace it. You let me know. If you've got a motion photo, so motion photo being the little sort of 3-second clip you can capture before the photo is captured. When you long press on the photo that motion photo has, if you hit the 3 dots after it's sort of clipped the sticker portion, you can hit save GIF or create GIF. And then what it will do is it'll actually turn the motion photo element into a little GIF without the background as part of it. I think that's really cool. I definitely can imagine creating some sort of little sort of motions or sort of faces and turning it into a little GIF reaction you can kind of send off. Definitely handy for meme creation. This is how you do it. Heading into sort of the weeds of the update, you've got some updates to My Files, really small ones. When you long press and want to move a file out of a folder, rather than it's taking you out of the folder you're in, it will just create a pop-up window overlaid, and you can save it and move it to a folder without having to actually move out of the folder you were in. Because if you're cleaning up files and you're moving things out into multiple folders, it can be quite frustrating. Whereas this way, hit move, the pop-up comes up, you move it, but you stay exactly where you were. And you can now conveniently save and put a file onto your home screen as a shortcut, kind of like you can on desktop computers. Desktop computers, am I 50? Hit long press on it, hit add to home screen, you'll see it pop up, and then you can directly access it in the app that it opens in from there. Samsung have got something here that allows you to create a profile card. So if you go into the phone app and into your sort of profile, you'll be able to add in a profile card now, which is basically just like a cool photo that you can put in at the top. Nothing really too fancy, but here's where it is. Some really small updates to answering phone calls. You can now answer with a tap instead of a swipe. That's a new toggle. And you can also answer directly to speakerphone if you like that sort of thing. I probably won't use either of those. I like the swiping function. I think it's kind of fun. And then speakerphone, well, what if you're in public? I think it's better to have it off than turn it on than it is to have it on from the start. Just my thoughts and opinions. You can skip through videos now in the video player by double tapping either the right or left of the screen. So you can skip forward 5 seconds or skip back. Basically just taking what was in YouTube or things like VLC player and incorporating it into Samsung video player. It's a small one, but it's there. And the last sort of update in the changelog that I want to highlight is auto blocker. Auto blocker is basically an extra level of security that kind of restricts you from installing APKs. Not for me. I like installing third-party APKs that aren't from the Play Store, especially if I know what I'm doing, which I do. But for people who potentially don't, like maybe my parents' phones, I might actually go and turn this on my mum's phone in particular when she gets this update. Because I think for her, she constantly asks me, oh, it's installed this app I didn't know about. Great. I'll happily turn this on for her. And there's even maximum restrictions too that you can sort of enable even further. When you want to turn this back off, you need your fingerprint to unlock that, to make it turn off. So I think it's quite handy for the right audience, just not for me. And there's one other thing I noticed that I think is kind of annoying, but I'm pretty sure it's a bug that will get patched out. If you're taking photos under 20x in the camera, you'll notice this sort of weird smearing effect. And it's not under 10x, it's like at like 19. You can see this photo of the building. It's completely smudged and smeared it. I don't know why that is, because when you go to 20x, that doesn't happen. I'm not the only one who's noticed it. I'm sure Samsung are onto it and they'll probably patch it out. Just something I thought I'd highlight at the end here. That's One UI 6.1.1. Well, technically it's 6.1, but you get my point. It's based off 6.1.1 on the S23 Ultra. Let me know if you've got it in the comments below. Let me know what you think about it if you've been using it. Hit subscribe to SamMobile TV. See you guys next time. Thanks.